Hi there, it's Denise Eckert from Balance Me Coaching. And I love coming on here and sharing different practices and tips to help you reduce your stress. Well, today I've got a different twist on things. I've got Gregory from South Africa. Hello, Gregory.
Hello, hi everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So can you explain to us what you do?
I love numbers, and numbers are the essence of all things. So, a bit about my journey, when I was younger, like a lot of people, I grew up in a pretty rough environment, pretty rough, upbringing. And so I spent a lot of time on my own, either playing sports or just making up games with numbers, any kinds of numbers. And even when I was like 10 years old, I'd go to the shop with my mother, and she would get to the counter with all the groceries and ask me what's the total, and I'd go like just point my finger and add it all up, and I'd give her the total, and the little girl the lady behind the counter would be like, "Oh, cute little boy," and then she added it all up, and she'd be like, "What?" So I've always just had this affinity with numbers and really been attracted to them. But in the last few years, I've just started to get really deep insights and awareness as to what they represent and how they are valid in our lives, and what they represent and how they guide us in every moment. So, there's a whole lot of different avenues I can go down, with regards to, because for me, everything's always been energy, period. I've always known this is a dream, and for the beings out there, and I thank God I read your email again before I came on, because I saw it's mostly a feminine audience. And I just felt to share something with the feminine audience, because I've got a very feminine nature. I spent a lot of my childhood and upbringing, and even most of my journey, really against the suppressive masculine power over energy. And I was always like, man, yeah, whatever, man, I don't care. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not trying to control anyone. But I was submissive and passive, and I just kind of did my own thing. But that's all changed, because the feminine is rising, and it's not the feminine as such. It's the feminine within all of us. It's the feeling side of things. They say the longest journey you will ever make is from your head to your heart, and that's what the ascension process is all about. You want to know what the ascension process is all about? In simple terms, it's a mission from your head to your heart. That's how simple it is. We just got to feel again. That's it. And 95% of our lives we live in the subconscious, which is all the programming that we took on in the first 7 years of our lives. And in the first 7 years of your life, you literally download and record everything you see. Like a baby, a baby, the first 2 years, they just stare, and they're just taking in and downloading, recording everything they hear and everything they see. And that creates, there's something that came out called the human pin code. And I'm into everything. I love a bit of everything. So basically the human pin code, it talks about your birth date and what it represents. So your birth day, the actual day, is your personality. And your personality is not who you are. It's a programming that you took on before you were born. The relationship between your mother and your father before you were born creates your personality. So when you start, you see, the thing with numbers is you've got to take accountability for your own feelings and your own actions. Because anytime you're in a state of joy, you're not in a state of joy, it's never the other person. It's always you. We are in these virtual reality suits, and our environment basically influences our genes. Our genes are not responsible for anything. We've been taught that your genes control how you're going to grow up. Genes are just a blueprint. Mm-hmm. They are just a blueprint. They've got nothing to do with evolution. So, and then your subconscious is, when you add your birthday and your month, you add them together, it gives you the number of your subconscious. It gives you your default programming that you go back to all the time. So your birthday, you come as a light being into this realm. You come through a portal in time. Okay, so you take on the frequencies of the planet at that moment. That's why with astrology, you can work out so many things, and The gene keys is based on your birth date as well. So these numbers are all super relative, and that's why they say the answers are with you. You don't need to look outside there and discover anything. You got to discover yourself, because the universe lives inside you, and the numbers are the key to even words come from numbers. They derive from numbers. So when you know the numbers, you can work out anything. Like, you can see it for what it is. And there's only 9 numbers. It's not that it's difficult. It's that people don't believe how simple life is. And every new dimension is a deeper level of love. And every deeper level of love is a deeper level of simplicity. We can't fathom that, because the ego itself is a construct of words, which is complicated. So we always say it's too good to be true. It's never going to just be that easy for me to kind of land my ass in the butter, So, and then your name. People think that many people think that a name is like an accident, or it's just a random name. There's no such thing as random in this universe. Everything is energy. Everything is connected. Your environment, every single thing you've got in your house has a frequency that's connected to your energetic signature. It cannot be any other way. And the rooster's confirming.
Yeah, I can hear the rooster.
He
wants to be part of the universe right now.
The rooster wants to be a part of everything. I've been learning so much. Actually, I've actually got my rooster shirt on for Blue Chakra Friday. And even things like that, wearing the right colors of the day, eating the kind of food, saying your mantras every day. These are I know you guys spoke with Taryn, and the numbers have showed me in a million ways that self-love is the only way through this portal, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, through this ascension process, you got to fall in love with yourself. And it's not the image of yourself. It's not the story of yourself, because nothing that comes from your mind is real. The mind is the ego. So your willpower is whether you choose to entertain the mind, which is part of the reptilian satanic system, or if you choose willpower not to entertain it and stay in your heart. That's our contract, to stay in the heart. And that's what this whole process is about.
Now, someone that wants to do work further like this, how would someone get started?
I'll tell you how I got started. I was walking one day in Durban, sun gazing, because sun gazing is probably, beyond breathing, is probably the most powerful tool I know. It's super, super important. That's obviously why they told us the sun is bad for your eyes, So I was busy walking one day, sun gazing, listening to classical music, and the sun told me to talk to the trees. I was like, what? Talk to the trees. I was like, all right, I surrender. I'll talk to the trees. And my earth mother had just retired, and she had a market across the road from her work. So I went and sat there in the trees for 3 days talking to the monkeys. And I just started, like, kind of getting this communication with numbers. And then I got led to this small little shack library thing that had this book by, see if I can remember his name, Dan Millman. And it was called The Life You Are Born to Live. The life you were born to live. And so I started getting into these numbers, and basically at one point there's a chart where you can write down basically your life path and the year you're born, and then you just go through the numbers. So say your life path is a 5 in 1980. So 1981 would be a 6, 82 a 7, 83 a 8, 84 a 9, and then 85 would go back to 1. And when I wrote down all my years, and I wrote down the numbers, and then I looked and I was paying attention, and I realized every single time it was a 1 year. I fucked shit up so bad, and that's where the rest of the 9 years went. And I was in a 1 year when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, wow.
That's very
and that got me super interested.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I basically, it's all about focus. We spent 12 years at least sitting at a desk, getting regurgitated a bunch of lies. Everything we've been taught since the day we were born is a lie. Every single word. And we are here to unlearn. There's nothing you need to do. People keep saying, I'm trying. I say, stop trying and let go. Just, you don't need to do anything. We are not human doings. We are human beings. And the Aquarian age is all about receiving, which means allowing. And in order to receive and allow, you need to empty your cup of all your belief systems, all your comfort zones, your conditions, your likes. You need to basically disengage from your identity. Because your identity, who you think you are and how your friends see you and your family, that is what's holding you back, because that's the ego that you've created yourself. And none of these things are all we are. Often people say, oh, it's just the way I am. And I say, but your numbers say it differently. So yeah, so just really paying attention to numbers, just really giving them your interest, being curious, because they respond to your consciousness. They respond to your awareness, and they're a family of 9 multidimensional beings. So they wherever you go, you're influenced by your environment. And what's the only common thing wherever you go is numbers and words. And words come from numbers. And numbers are real. They are gifted to us. Words are created to divide us. All the words in the dictionary are prescriptions. So we've got billions of multidimensional beings who have been given 26 letters to communicate their multidimensional feelings, and on top of that, they've been given prescription words with which to navigate and communicate. That's why we don't get along. That's why we fight, because we don't understand each other. The communication is because we've had different experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Now, can you talk a little bit about sun gazing? Because that's not that familiar on this side of the planet.
For sure. So sun gazing, source energy. And when you sun gaze, it's very similar to grounding, like, with like a tree hug, or, just sitting on the ground. It's very similar to that, except, the numbers have showed me with so much clarity, so many different things. And every word has a number frequency. And the word stare is at the same frequency as our contract as humans on this planet. And we always, like, I often got told when I was younger, don't stare, it's rude. But when you are staring, when you stare for long enough, that's how you manifest like vision boards and stuff. You put it up there and you basically absorb those specific light frequencies into your pupils. And so it basically reconfigures the neural networks in your brain, and it's automatic healing. It's automatic upliftment. It's automatic because it basically, what it does is it allows consciousness to come into your being, and consciousness and unconsciousness cannot exist simultaneously. So as you're receiving all of that divine light, it's purifying pockets of unconsciousness within your vessel. And then you start seeing images and colors and shapes and all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. For me, it's one of the most important everyday spiritual disciplines.
Wonderful. So now, how do you work with people? Like, what kind of work do you do with them?
Okay. I drink lots of water. Lots and lots of water. That's my first recommendation to everyone.
Got mine here too.
Cheers. So what I do is simply, people book a session, and I like to do face to face. I like to interact with people. I feel it's very important because we feel each other. We all connected. We're brothers and sisters, and I just find it a lot more effective when we connect in person. And then you just give me your name and your number, and your name is the expression of your soul. So every lifetime you've ever lived here, all of your footprints on this planet are encoded in the vessel that you're currently wearing. Just like in your name, every experience, every piece of wisdom, every karma, all of it is encoded in numbers in your name. And your last name is all of your ancestral karma. I mean, I've done sessions with people where we've gone so deep into often tears, because it comes up with trauma that they haven't dealt with from someone that's already gone, because they couldn't see themselves in that person.
Yeah.
And so we do a session. They often go on for long. And sometimes, if we're really gelling and people are really open, Sometimes they're 3-4 hours, but generally like a couple of hours. And it's just like Terence says, it gives you permission to be yourself, because you see that you've made no mistakes in your life. You haven't made any mistakes. You've simply been living unconsciously. And none of those programs that you've been living are you. And you can rewrite them anytime. And awareness transforms all into consciousness. So when you become aware of something, you automatically, those unconscious programs start to leave your body because you see them. And that's why looking at yourself is the most important thing, because essentially everything's energy. There are no others. The universe is holographic. So anytime you're pointing fingers at someone, how many fingers are pointing back at you?
Yeah.
That's it. Take responsibility for yourself. No victim consciousness. It's one of the first things in the Celestine prophecy. If you think you're a victim, you don't know the power of love yet. And you don't know who you are, because everyone here watching this now is a royal angel. We are having a human experience. The world is a stage, and we are all just actors, but people take it seriously. And any time that you've got any issues or problems in your life, it's because you're caught up in self-importance.
Yeah.
And we are here to be in service.
Yeah. The ego is something else, eh?
Oh, yeah.
It likes to take over. It's very hard to keep a tab on that ego.
For sure. For sure.
And that's the way I was raised. I know that. It was all about egos. And it's so nice to get away from that. And it's very difficult to get away from that, because it keeps creeping in every time you turn around. And then you question yourself and you question what you're doing. And then you feel so insecure and you lose your confidence.
Yep.
So great. We're going to wrap this up. So go ahead.
I just wanted to throw something else out there as well. And this is a big one. This is a big trap for humanity. That insecurity you're talking about. Guess what the opposite of freedom is? And this is a 5 year. So this year is a universal 5 year. It's all about freedom and having the experiences in order to see yourself. And the opposite of freedom is security. And security comes from an insecurity. And everyone wants freedom, but they don't want to let go of their comfort zone. They don't want to let go of, but what if I lose my job? What if I don't have a place to stay? Like, that's all fear-based. Like, that's all a mentality of lack,
Yeah. And it's difficult, especially with the times right now with the pandemic and everybody losing their jobs, possibly losing their homes. It's so hard to keep that positivity.
Well, it's only going to increase because humanity are not choosing love, so they're basically choosing the experiences by default. And that's, basically what's happened since 2012, because the Mayan calendar is now, the Mayan prophecy is coming true. This is the year that it's all going down. And basically since 2012, the frequencies on the planet are beginning higher and higher. And it's like a love spaceship. It landed officially, planet Earth equals heart. And it is the center of the universe, has officially anchored in the fifth dimension. And so everything that's not high vibrational is precipitating to the surface. And that means everything inside of us that's not real, whole, pure, true, unconditional love, it has to come up for us to let go of it, because we can't move forward when we've got attachments and resentments and lack of forgiveness and unworthiness. We've got to transform all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all simple. That's the key. It's all very, very simple. The things you need to do, a 5-year-old can do, but you got to do it every day. You got to be consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Focus on your breath as much as possible. Focus on your breath and focus on your environment. Focus on being in joy. Focus on having music that you like. Don't sit in a shit environment and then complain that you're not feeling good because you chose to sit in a shit environment. Honor your inner child over everything and everyone, because you cannot give unconditional love until you receive it fully from yourself. So honor your inner child. This year, the 21 is all about healing the inner child. You can't do anything until you've done that. Nothing that's going to be sustainable. So just focus on healing the inner child.
Wow, that's powerful. Oh, thank you so much, Greggy. I really enjoyed this information today. Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Just a final note, if you're struggling with burnout or chronic stress, I have free resources such as a podcast, Facebook support group, my blog. To get these free resources, please visit my website at www.balance-me.ca. Now, this is Denise Eckert signing off, and contact me if you're looking to create a happier, more balanced lifestyle today.